What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at NXT Takeover Elite Series 4 from the Target exclusive line. You guys know I've loved talking about this so far. We only have, I believe this video and one more after it, I believe, to be done with the NXT Takeover set. So I'm pretty excited on to the next little series we have going here. So join me down the toy aisle. Alrighty, the first figure we're going to be talking about from Series 4 is none other than Killian Dayne, or Big Damo on the Indies, if you guys remember him in the UK wrestling scene in about 2015, 2016. This figure is actually pretty awesome. I've said that about a lot of them, but for whatever reason, they put a lot of work into this specific subset of figures. Like I said, a lot of first time in the lines, which is pretty insane. And you know what? It's nice to get some good stuff. So at the time, this is when Sanity was doing really well on NXT. I believe by now we had gotten the Eric Young figure. I don't know if we'd gotten the Nikki. Oh man, why wouldn't we have gotten the Nikki Cross by now? I wish I knew the actual release dates. And then we got the fourth guy, but I am completely drawing a blank on who his name was, because he also joined Imperium at some point. Alexander Wolf. That's who it was. We had another guy even before Killian Dayne, which was Sawyer Fulton, but he got released, honestly. And anyway, those are the members of Sanity. And we didn't get to Alexander Wolf until he was a collector's edition. He was pretty hard to get, him and Pete Dunne at the time. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Killian Dayne here. There was some unique sculpting here for the headpiece, the vest, the wrap around the crotch area. And I think even the boots were unique molds at the time. We don't have other pictures of it, unfortunately. The head scan looked a little weird once you took the whole getup off. It looked like him, but it was a dumb expression, my honest opinion. But it was pretty good. I also thought he was a hair, just a hair, undersized. If they would have added probably a centimeter or maybe half an inch to his height, he would have been even more imposing. And I think the figure would have looked a little bit better. But other than that, it was actually pretty sick. And it's always nice when you have a 4 or 5, 6-man team or something, and you do get every single member of the team. And we got every member of Sanity, which was pretty insane. So let's go on to the next figure. The next figure in the set was a pretty big get at the time. We got Drew McIntyre, his first figure since returning to the company. He got, released in 2014, and he made his big return, I believe, in 2017. Yes. This figure was pretty bland. Once again, we got a unique head. We got a unique jacket. They threw the chest hair on there. Pretty plain attire. That's just how a lot of the Drew McIntyre figures have been for a long time, until the last couple of years. But it does everything it needs to do. The height was great on it. It was a big-time draw for the NXT line. And McIntyre was on one heck of a run in NXT when he returned. So this was, like I said, the first way to get... Oh, my. This had to be the first way to get a McIntyre Elite until he debuted on the main roster again. I believe maybe his return main roster Elite would have been the one that came with the Raw tag titles. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Further digging, the 2018 NXT TakeOver Series figure that you see here, and then his other one after that had to be the 2020 Elite Series 71 Drew McIntyre. It looks pretty much the same. It's got a new head. It's got 2 new heads. Kind of the same jacket and the Raw tag team titles. But we will get to that way down the line. But yeah, that was released in 2020. So let's get back to NXT. But this figure was good. It was a lot of hype at the time. Like I said, the NXT TakeOver sets were pretty hard to get. Sometimes. There were others that were a little easier. We talked about it with Rusev and Roman and all that stuff. But for the most part, they were pretty desirable. So let's go on and talk about the third figure in the set. The third figure in the set is once again another debut figure in the Mattel line, and it is Ruby Riot. Now, just saying that was her debut in the Mattel line, I could be wrong. She might have had a basic before this. I don't remember. But this Elite had some of the most insane details that you would see on a figure. She was absolutely covered in tattoos. I believe part of the pants were sculpted. I could be entirely wrong. I don't remember. You guys know my memory is not that good. Nope, this is all painted. See? But it does come with a unique jacket, which we never saw again. Unique head sculpt, which we may have seen again. I know she also got a long-haired head sculpt before she was released. This was a great figure. I still have this to this day. I believe this might be the Ruby Riot I keep in my collection. I'm trying to think which other one she had from Mattel. I do have her AEW figure, which is also just as good. But there was something special. Like I said, this was a really, really good time to be a collector. And wrestling was hot. NXT was very hot. And yeah, it was such a good figure, honestly. I do want to compare it to some of her other figures, though. You know what? Upon further inspection, she's only had 3 figures. That head was not reused. She had a basic come out the year after with the long hair. And then she had the 2023 Jazzwares figure, which I thought that was 24 at this point. So I could be very wrong. But that is pretty interesting. I will say only 3 figures, and they're all so different. That's pretty crazy. But that Ruby Riot, the NXT, is probably, I don't know. It's going to be a toss-up between that one and the Jazzwares one on which one's my favorite. It's really, really close, though. And the last figure in Series 4, massive selling point, Alistair Black. From all the deco hits on Ruby Riot to all the deco hits on Alistair Black. That's why McIntyre and Killian Dayne were kind of generic, because Alistair and Ruby took all the funding for the wave, it seems like. Once again, a unique sculpted head sculpt. We have a brand new vest, which he might have gotten one like it later in the line, but this was still a new part in that moment, if that makes sense. And I believe, I don't know if it was on this one or later ones where he had like the half like dragon skin boot. I don't know. Let's see if we can tell from the pictures here. No, okay, so he just has 2 regular kick pads. But like you see how it is. Like the deco, even on the jacket, is pretty insane. He's got the tattoos all on the arms, the leg. It doesn't even show him without the jacket. But you guys know that Alistair's back is entirely done as well. Like, it is crazy just how much detail they're able to pack into a figure. These figures aren't that big, like, keep in mind. But this, once again, was a massive selling point. McIntyre and Alistair were the driving forces of this wave, 1,000%. But you wanted Killian Dayne to complete your team, and the Ruby Riot just looked really good to pass up on, honestly. But that is it for NXT TakeOver Series 4. Once again, another strong showing. Next week, we're going to talk about Series 5, the unreleased set. We talked about it with the basics. Now we got an unreleased Elite set. Also, side note, all of these have their entrance gear, which is just so great. No soft goods, sadly, but all have their entrance gear. But that is going to be it for today. I appreciate you guys for joining me down the toy aisle. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and last but not least, take it easy.